Well, again, I'm Keith Cook, Vice President of the Golden Dunkers. I manage the social media for the Golden Dunkers and have been doing things like Golden Dunkers Live and making our YouTube channel. And as a part of that, I've been reaching out to some of the former players, connecting with them, and set up a pretty long list of great speakers for us this year. And I don't need to do much of an introduction for this speaker, but we thought we would kick off this season with a Gopher legend here, banner raised, Willie Burton. So give it applause.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Start that way. So, before we get started, one of the things that I'm committed to, and I've always been committed to, is making sure that those that were involved in what everyone sees as my success, that others behind the scenes are not forgotten about. And every opportunity I get, I try to grab someone that you had no idea existed for the most part. You just walked in Williams Arena and the lights were just working and the heat was just on, you know, and it was all nice looking. Well, the gentleman who did that while I was here, I decided to ask him to come here with me because I respected the things that he did and I appreciated the things that he did. I appreciated everyone from the little to the big people. And that was really important with Coach Haskins, that we thank and be, you know, respectful of those, everyone that has something to do with our success. And I just found out his real name is Joel, but we call him JoJo. JoJo had more keys than anybody I've ever seen in my life on a ring like this. And I wanted JoJo to come up and I just want to introduce him. Come on up, JoJo. Thank you for helping me control the heat in the Williams Arena.
This guy was always cold, I'm telling you. Right?
Yeah. We had a sign. You know, when I was out on the basketball court before the games.
Thank you.
We had hand gestures because I would be on the floor and he would be up in the stairs coming up out of, you know, where the teams come up and go down. He would be doing this and we go there, turn the heat up, or turn the heat down. So I just want to thank you for everything that you've done, and I wanted to make sure that the university and others who may not have known you, Robert Rowe was here when you was here.
Right, you bet, yep.
So he was here. So, you know, I want to say thank you, and I appreciate what you've done.
Well, you've done a lot for the U too, and all the players that came through the U when I was working there. The U owes a lot of gratitude to you guys too, so we appreciate that.
Well, thank you. I'll take this bill. Thanks. So I would be remiss. I always value my teammates. You know, Robert Rowe helped me set up a play in the game that we end up winning the game with. I don't know if Robert remembers that. We lined up in the free throw line, and I would take two fingers and put them behind the player's shorts and push them in the lane. Robert got yelled at practice for falling in the lane, and I was just experimenting on things. Come find out, he was pissed off at me for a while. He was pissed, but guess what? When we won that game against Indiana, when he saw that guy fall in the lane on that 2 shots, I know what you did. That's the first thing he did. He didn't say, yes, Willie, good job. I know exactly what you did.
So basically, I won the game.
He won the game. Everything about our team and everything about the sports involves everyone. Some of the things you saw me do, believe it or not, it was trial and error, playing against guys. Those guys, and they came at me every day. So, I mean, the games wasn't that hard. So, let me talk about a few things you may not know about Willie Burton and some things that's a little different. I went to high school, everybody know, in Detroit, Michigan. And when I came here, it was different. I mean, I lost 4 games in high school. That's the 4 years. I went to the state championship 3 consecutive times, 2 of which we won, 1 of which we lost in the semifinals. In my senior year at the University of Minnesota, 6 of my teammates was in the NCAA tournament on 6 different teams. It was a very competitive environment. And that's where some of my teammates now realize, okay, that's why you were so competitive and wanted to win. I had, 10 other guys around me with the same, and, it was a transition. When I came here, my recruitment experience, some of you may or may not know, that's what Tom Izzo was on my jersey retirement video. He was steamed because originally I was supposed to go to Michigan State. And
Thank you.
and it just so happened, my coach, Ed Rachel, Lawrence Ellis was a scorekeeper here. He played for him. And Charlie Holman for the Minnesota sports recorder. They happened to play for my high school coach. And my high school coach talked me out of taking my last visit, because I thought I was just going to go to Michigan State and that was it. He talked me out of going my last visit to a certain school and taking a visit up here. He never came at me like that. And I went, okay. And I'm thankful to this day he did. Because when I came up here, I saw everything that I always wanted in a college, in my mind. Big city, big market. At the time, the Gophers were the pro basketball team. I noticed that all of the Gophers stayed. When I went to other college campuses, that's the first thing that I saw. They stayed, they had good jobs, they raised good families. It was a great environment. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be like Darrell Thompson and Tommy Davis. Those guys were revered, and they had stopped playing 5-6 years prior to that. I wanted that experience and have that experience forever. So that's why I signed. That's why I signed here. And Coach Haskins, I signed under Dutcher. Situation happened. Coach Haskins took over. I had talked to Coach Haskins on a Wednesday. And he said he would be to see me the following Wednesday. And he hadn't met, he didn't know much about me. He called all the players. And he happened to get a phone call from one of the coaches at one of the colleges. And the next thing I know, he was at my door on a Saturday. And I was like, hey, Coach, how you doing? It's nice to meet you. I thought you were coming next week. He was like, no, I got a phone call that I need to come here now. Okay. But I was signing for the University of Minnesota and the Twin Cities. That's why I signed. Let me make it clear. That's why I signed. And then Coach Haskins, friendly guy, but man. And I want him to see this video too. I want y'all to make sure y'all record this. I'm gonna put this on my Facebook page. He was one of the most competitive individuals that I had ever seen. I mean, every little detail, every little thing. I missed one game here at the University of Minnesota. I want to make that clear. I missed one game because I missed one class. One. I spent a lot of time at the Williams Arena when my teammates weren't there. Running around the top of it. With him at the bottom, cursing. These are things that y'all don't know. I was a city kid and I was a little edgy. So Coach and my teammates kept me in line. And I needed it. It was a great place to be. Our practices were grueling. We would practice and practice and practice, and it was never good enough for Coach Haskins. Never good enough. I don't care what we did. I don't care how he did it or what we did right. And believe it or not, you would think that the so-called better player on the team would get some slack. It was the opposite. I can remember us winning games at halftime, and Robert was right there. He knows what I'm talking about. He would cut the video off. He wouldn't talk to the rest of the team. He'd just yell at me. But he knew that would piss me off, and then I'm going to go out. I want to make sure he has nothing to say after the game. Nothing at all. But he was a great coach, great strategist, great strategy, putting games in. His model in coaching players was, he's going to teach you so much so far for so long, and then it's your responsibility to pick up. Your responsibility to make the right decisions. You know, he told me some things that in my junior year, in my senior year, that I didn't know he heard. He let me know a lot after I finished playing for him. You know, sometimes coach will call a play, and that's just not the play that needs to happen. You know, so sometimes I'll make an executive decision. That's not what we're going to do. And I had Melvin, so you know. And I word for word what he said. He said, we were at a timeout. You were sitting there. I'm calling the play. He said, you were paying me not a bit of attention. I could tell you were going over the game, going over spaces, going over who's on the floor. You're going over what needs to happen and what you're going to do. He said, I called the play and I got up. And he said, I went over to Melvin and said, Melvin, the hell with that play. Give me the ball. He said, I act like I didn't hear anything. Oh, man. I'm letting you guys in on some real secrets. But I can tell you this much, also playing in the barn. There's no place like it. I can still remember when that thing rocks, my ears ringing. We would go downstairs sometimes after big wins, like when we beat #1 Illinois. We were called a giant killer. We would have to go downstairs and we have to sit for just a couple seconds and let our ears calm down so that we could hear, you know, after the game comments. We were very protective of home. We learned that. We learned that from Coach Hass to protect home. I don't know if many of you remember, Robert wasn't here for that one, but he should have been. My freshman year, we lost to a team that he had never lost to. And now the rules are different in NCAA. I don't know if after the game, we got on our practice gear and went back on the floor. Now, years later, he apologizes. Because see, that same team was ranked nationally, and they had a player on there that had back-to-back 50-point games. But it was too late. You know, I loved my play in the Big Ten also. The Big Ten was the most competitive night in, night out, and is to this day conference to me when it comes to across sports. But I can specifically speak for basketball. Night in and night out, you got 3-4 NBA players on each team. Or bubbling NBA players. You got 7-footers that move like guards. You got short guards with 40-inch verticals. And they're well coached. You know, as a student athlete, individuals don't understand that the courses that you have another course also. It's called a scout report. I have to know everything about the players that I'm going against. Whether they like to go left, whether they like to go right, what's their strong hand? Are they jump shooters or are they drivers? Are they temperamental? Can I hit them in the ribs, see if they fly off the handle and get out of their game? All of these this is a class. This is a course. But it's just you don't get credit for it. But Coach Hasson's gonna hold you accountable for it. Son, you're killing me, son. Didn't we say don't let him go left? Oh man, that was his favorite. You're killing me, you're killing me, you're killing me. So we had to know that scout report to a T. And our teammates would play the roles of those other individuals and play like those individuals. And we do that week after week after week after week after week. In addition to going to class, in addition to study table, in addition to almost anything that you wanted to do. With student athletes, it's not easy. Make no doubt about it. Those that get the 3.0s and 3.3s and this and that, they're doing a heck of a job, because it's hard to study with your body when your body's literally aching from your neck to your feet. You're tired. You want to sleep like everyone else. You know? They didn't have what's called massages and all that back then. You just hurt. You know, whirlpools and all this nice stuff. They didn't know, you just hurt. Not unless you were damaged, did you get treatment. And there were Roger. Roger was always there for us. Roger was like our team mother and father at the same time, as we got torn up from, as you know, my case, broken noses to ripped knees, turned ankles, blisters. These are things you don't see under those uniforms that they're going through. It is a job, make no doubt about it. We went 9-19 my first 2 years, and then we turned the corner. NCAA tournament, giant killer year. Some of you in this room remember that, right? Absolutely. Right? That was a giant killer year. That's what all the hard work is about. So you don't come into the Big Ten and have instant success. It does not work that way. Sounds good, looks good. These young guys here are just getting with each other. They're just learning each other. They're learning who can jump, who can't, who shoots well, who can't, what's the timing of the play. They're realizing what I did my first year, I'm not strong enough. I can run and I can jump, but I am not physically strong enough. That's what they're going through. However, they have a lot of physical talent. And they'll get through it. Size and athleticism. The kid 21 is a man child. I mean, he's in there handling seniors and juniors like they're nothing. However, it's going to get a little tougher for him when he gets in the Big Ten. I noticed that. It happened to me. I had 20 points in a couple games my first year. I thought, oh, it's a cakewalk. It's a Big Ten game. This is a whole different game now. What happened? Guys can grab me and hold. I cannot move. Forearm to the shoulder, send me 5 steps that way. And it's not a foul. But the NCAA tournament was fun. It was great for the Twin Cities. It was great for our team. It was great for the culture and climate. We needed that. We needed that. And we had started to turn the corner. And we learned something in that Duke game. We learned you got to come out, the higher you get up in the tournament, you got to come out and play now. You can't wait and try to pick it up later. You'll get behind 10 points and you'll never close the gap. They taught us a lesson that we used that following year on our run to the Final 8, which was, we couldn't catch anyone by surprise our senior year. The surprise factor was over. Everybody was waiting on us. You know, Team Cincinnati had Nick Van Exel as a point guard, future NBA players. They had quite a few future NBA players on their team. We didn't know it. They were us. We lost at the last second. We wondered, how is it Cincinnati team playing like this? They were us. And later we found out, as you saw, the Cincinnati program continues to progress and continue to be successful. We had a great run. The Big Ten was a monster that year. I mean, literally, it was 2 to 3 NBA players on every team. Michigan had 4, maybe more than that. Yeah, they had 5. They had like 5 NBA players. I mean, each team was loaded at that time. And the competition was fierce. And we went down, all the way down to Georgia Tech. And I said something once, and I'll say it now since the cap is off the roof, anybody didn't hear. I don't care what anybody says, you know, from what I heard, I don't know how true it is, but I heard they had 2 officials from the same conference in that game, and they said that that wouldn't happen again. Because we jumped out to a 12-point lead and whistles came everywhere. We were on the verge of blowing them out, literally. And all of a sudden, you know, I give you a synopsis of the game. I don't know where I am. I think I may still be the all-time leading free throw attempt maker, made and shoot at the school. I'm not sure. But I'm that person, and I did not attempt a free throw in that game. But I scored 36 points. I think at the time, I think I still have the record for most threes in the NCAA tournament, kind of like 4, 5, 6, something like that. I'm not sure, but I had a couple. But played against great team though, Dennis Scott, and not to take anything away from them as competitors, Kenny Anderson. Kenny and I talk about it often. You know, talked about the game. Kenny was not rattled. He was a freshman. We could not rattle him. We did everything. We literally did things that I can't talk to you about on this microphone. And he was not rattled. You know? I mean, when you're going to compete a lot of times, and everyone, you know, knew about me when I go to compete, I mean, I might like you. But in between that 40 minutes, I'm gonna do whatever I have to do to win. You know, I had to apologize to a lot of people over my career. A lot of people that I knew that were friends of mine. I literally had to apologize to them. You know, hey man, you know, I'm sorry. You know, I did. I'm sorry now, but if that ball goes up and we out on the floor, I might do it again. And that was just my mentality when it came to winning. Do what needs to be done, get done how it needs to be done, figure out a way to get it done now. But you have to prepare for that physically. And I spent my time physically. A lot of times the team would go in the locker room and they would go and leave. And some of the younger guys started following me. Some of the guys you know now, Errol McDonald, all-time assist leader, those younger guys would follow some of the things that I was doing. I would go in there and lift weights on days we didn't have to, because I knew I needed to be ready for everything that was coming. And I needed my teammates. I mean, I needed those guys to get individuals off of me. That senior year, everywhere I went, all I heard was my name. He's over here, he's over there, he's over there right here, he's over here, Where's Burton? I was like, you know it's 4 other guys out here on the floor, don't you? So, that's why I had Kevin Lynch and Melvin Newbern, Jim Chicken-Jansky. Jim Chicken-Jansky was really the first stretch 5. A lot of people don't give him credit for that. I didn't think about that. Jim Chicken-Jansky would knock down jump shots all day. He kept the middle open. Melvin Newbern and Kevin Lynch, you double team. After three shots from them, I think you'll stay home. Now it's me and you again. That's a little bit different. But my time was wonderful here at the university. It was hard work, that much I can say. And I had to leave before getting my degree. I tried to stay spring, but I couldn't. I couldn't. I tried. They were flying. I was flying out every other week. Not every other week. I was flying sometimes twice a week. And I couldn't go to class. And that's the one thing that I wanted to do was finish my degree. I went to Summers also to finish my degree. So I went straight through while I was here just to finish my degree. But, you know, I had an opportunity to do some other things and go on and play against some players. And I finally got Coach Haskins' handcuffs off me. From that time on, I never had a coach that told me not to shoot the ball. I've even been sat down for passing the ball. I'll give you an idea. Philadelphia 76ers. I go to Miami, I leave Miami and I go to Philadelphia and I get in the game. I just got there, you know. Get in the game, shoot the ball, pass the ball. Here, come sit down next to me. You know you're supposed to shoot the ball, right? Okay, go back in the game. I shoot the next 4 balls. I passed the 5th ball. Here. You know what? I'm not even going to take you out. I think you get the picture now. That's what the coach said to me. So from then on, for the most part, because in Miami we had a lot of us that could score. A lot of us. You had Glenn Rice from Michigan, Harold Miner, Brian Shaw, Ronnie Cycling. I mean, we had a list of scorers. And I finally got an opportunity to, even when I played with San Antonio, Greg Popovich said, you know what? When I put you in the game, you score. That's what he told me. When I put you in the game, you score. So that's what I was noted as. I didn't go through all the stuff I went through with Coach Robert Rolfe no more. I think I was just put the ball in the hole. I was pretty good at it. I had 25 points in my first NBA game. Had quite a few NBA records. They've been broken by Allen Iverson. LeBron James broke my most points scored by a Heat player in his first game. But LeBron did that in his 7th year. I did that in my first NBA game. Allen Iverson pretty much broke all of the records that I had with the 76ers. James Harden broke my record for most points scored. I had a record for most points scored by a Heat player in the first game and most points scored against the Miami Heat. They didn't ever forgive me for that either. And I was like, I was just playing. It wasn't personal. You know? I've been fortunate to have a blessed life, a blessed career. But no career is not filled with pitfalls and learning and growing. And that's one of the reasons I do what I do today with sports. So I'm here at the university now, and I would be remiss if I didn't give the Golden Dunkers credit for being there for us, giving us a home away from home while we're here. We needed that. We needed to get away. We needed to go jet skiing or walking or parasailing or be invited out somewhere at a camp or a barbecue. We needed that. Because once we're here, there's pressure on us as we're walking. As we're walking, everyone's watching us. As we eat, they're watching us. Our every move is being criticized. And sometimes we have to get out of here. So, what you've done over the years, I want to say thank you. From every player that's not here to speak for themselves. Now, I guess I am an official member of the Golden Dunkers now. So, in wrapping this up, I love my life now. I love my life now. Trying to get back to Minnesota ended my career. True story. During the lockout year, I was supposed to go back and sign with San Antonio Spurs. Matter of fact, Greg Popovich called me in the office to sign me before I left. But I was communicating with another former girlfriend, can't say his name. They might go back and find him, but he's not working for the NBA no more, so they can't do that. But I was talking with another former player, and I was going to finish here with the Seawolves. That was it. I was going to come here, finish here, and be done. That didn't happen. I was downtown at the Target Center. I wanted to do a sprint, and I was getting older. My Achilles popped. I had to spend pretty much the rest of the year, and the article's in the paper. If you go and see it, Timberwolves are still waiting on Willie Burton, see how his leg is. I couldn't let anybody see that. I had to hide it. And that was at the time where you couldn't sign players like me and just bring them in anymore. So now I'm outside the salary cap. However, I still made it over to Charlotte, but my leg wasn't right. and I had to watch San Antonio Spurs win the championship. The reason I don't regret it is because at the time, it was enough being Willie Burton. It's time to be a dad. That's what came to me from God. Everybody knows you. You've done all you needed to do as far as this game is concerned. I need you to be a dad. Little did I know being a dad would lead me to what I'm doing now. So here I am, this 6'8" guy, going in to substitute teaching my kids' schools. Is that really him? What are you doing here? Well, I became a substitute teacher in my kids' schools. I got them involved in different aspects of life. I was more focused. The GPAs went up because I had brought a little bit of Coach Haskins with me in the house. And I loved what I was doing. I was passionate about it. And then I looked up and my daughter was about to graduate. And I'm like, hold on a second. How are you going to graduate? And I done gave my whole life up for you guys here. Oh, no, that's not going to happen. So that competitor kicked on quick. So I came back here. I got a call from Dana Jobert, former Gopher women's basketball player. And I got a call from Connell Lewis, my teammate. And anybody who knows Connell's going to run everything. He's like a junior Coach Haskins. So I go in there to sit down, talk about coming back to finish my degree. Connell takes over and tells the guy on the other side how we're going to do this, what I'm looking for, and what I need. And I just looked over at him like, and just shook my head. But that's us as teammates. We still talk to this day. I came back and finished my degree. I was passionate about coming back and finishing it. And from there, I went on to do my master's at Wayne State. I was waiting on the University of Minnesota to have an online master's program. It didn't happen. So I waited a couple of years, and after a while, it was just like, I'm going to move on. And next thing I know, my son wants to come here. He is a lot like me. He's a competitor to the 10th, to the Gill. I'm third all-time leading scorer in basketball. He's third all-time on the track over here. Fastest time in the 400 hurdles. So, kids are doing well. But I get to finally do what I've always wanted to do, be here. And what's great about it is that, I've done a lot of things. I'm appointed by the governor of Michigan. I'm on the Pro Football Hall of Fame Behavioral Health as a national ambassador. I work with the NBA and their players. I work with the NFL, NHL. I worked with everybody doing programs. But now I want to come back here and do my PhD. And I got to be honest with you. My first 2 weeks, I was like, I don't know if I picked the right thing or not. I'm not sure. It's like, I don't know while I'm coming and going up and down. I don't know what's going on. And everyone says the same thing, how they tell you the job or something when someone starts new. Oh, take it easy, you'll get it, you'll be all right. When you're in that position, it sounds good to you if you know it. But when you're in that position, you don't have control or feel like you're comfortable. You don't think that way. I didn't think that way. I thought, I don't know if I'm in the right place. The load of work. My master's degree, I went through 4 markers in 2 years. I've gone through 2 markers and the semester's not full, not finished. But I love it because it's crossing over research and me working with politicians to implement policies and change policies as far as youth, public safety, public health, physical exercise, mental health. Mental health is my big passion as far as student athletes. Because typically those that participate in sports have fewer mental health issues. Some of us, including me, had mental health issues that I had no idea about. But I played sports. So it never really came out because when I'm yelling on the court, y'all yelling too. Look at him yelling. It's okay, he's yelling. However, there's another side to that also, is turning that off when the basketball game is over. How do I come down? How do I turn it off? How do I get peace? My teammate Walter Bond once said to me, Willie, you don't ever seem like you at peace. You don't seem like you at peace. And I wasn't at peace and I didn't know it. But they sheltered their arms around me and covered me to keep me from self-destructing. Because I didn't want to go to sleep at night like everyone else. I couldn't. I don't know why. I couldn't just lay down and go to sleep. And as I looked and reviewed my life, it was from a lot of things that I had seen long before I came to the University of Minnesota. Things that I had witnessed growing up in Detroit, which a lot of individuals in Detroit have it, they just don't know it. Or they haven't admitted to it. Or they're still in a situation where that same nervousness is needed for their daily survival. That heightened attention is needed because you never know what's going to go down. And that's the environment in which I came from. And psychoeducation, mental health literacy are really important and crucial to me because I'm more interested in the lifelong learning of the individual. Sports will end. All of that will come to an end someday. However, the individual needs to be a productive citizen. Productive citizen is good for our community and all communities because they, if not treated, typically become a danger, if not to themselves, to you and me. And a lot of times they have no idea why. So my goal is to get at a young age. I've got 10 curriculums now that I came out with Star Commonwealth to address a number of issues. And I partner with my former trainers, parent curriculums to address these issues. That's what I'm committed to. That's where my passion is. Because that is important to all. Now, I think I've talked enough, and I think I've told you some things about Willie that you didn't know, and some things that you might have been interested in. But most of all, I hope you understand my passion to give back and help others. And I am truly happy. There's a difference when someone says, "I'm happy." Happiness is where I'm at now, because I'm doing the things that I want to do unobstructed. And I'm growing with the help and the leadership of the professors and instructors here at the University of Minnesota. They're showing me how to leverage the knowledge and experience that I have in order to do that at a very high level. So, I've got my introduction together. I've just put my method section together. I just located a location for my research. To do my research, I'm actually ahead right now. If I pushed it, I'm ahead. But I may or may not, it depends. But I love what I'm doing. I love being here. I love walking around in Michigan though, with Michigan and Michigan State with my maroon and gold on, because they look like, where you come from? Where you come from? Yeah, you got nothing to say about this, do you? But I brag about Minnesota all the time. I brag about how we're a mile from downtown. I brag about how our campus is large in the middle of a city, an urban city, 2 downtowns. I brag about the success rate of our student athletes seeking employment after that and able to stay where they play college sports. And a lot of the students here, if they were smart and they understood market, brand, they would stay. They would. You know, they want to get out and they want to come back, and then it's like, okay. I don't know about you guys, but I'm pretty sure the University of Minnesota students will come first. I'm pretty sure. I'm not saying discriminate against them. I'm not telling you to. I'm just telling you what I would think. So we're going to end with that right there and give you time. I gave you an in-depth look at Willie Burton. I caught the university bus over here. I like my life as humble. I don't have to style and profile. I don't have to be flashy. I don't have to do any of that. I catch a bus with students. They look at me, this guy on the bus with plugs in his ear. They don't know I'm listening to rap from the 90s, but I'm on the bus with them. I got my gloves, and I'm a student without the other things associated with it, and I love it. So at this time, I'll take a few questions until